How's it going? Welcome to another All About RVs. Today we're talking about a tire pressure monitor system, the one that we ended up picking, because I hate that feeling that you get in your gut when you feel like you blew a tire or something's wrong with your truck or something's wrong with your RV and you're gonna be stuck on the side of the road. I hate that feeling, but if there's something we can do to minimize it, then I'm all for that. So that's what we're looking at today. I've actually been wanting to get a tire pressure monitor system for our RV and our truck for the last probably the last 3 years, just for that peace of mind to be able to know what's happening with your tires as you're rolling down the road. Because the tire pressure monitor system isn't an end-all be-all to a tire solution and not ever having a problem again. You still want to check the sidewalls, the date, the tread depth, the pressure before you leave. You want to have the proper load range. All those things are extremely important, but they don't really give you an indication of what's happening to your tire as you go down the road. But a tire pressure monitor can give you indications with heat and pressure and let you know if you have a rise in pressure or if you have something leaking back there, so that you can hopefully stop and solve the problem before it becomes something that's going to do more damage. Oh, this is never fun when you're on a bridge and you get a flat tire. Completely flat. It's almost like trying to diagnose when you're sick. You want to try and catch it early so that you don't have any damage or any worse symptoms. If you can catch it early and you can take care of it, it's going to be a lot better. And the tires are the exact same way. If you have an influx of heat or pressure, you want to address it before you have a blowout. Now, the one we chose, we finally decided on the TireMinder Smart Tire Monitor Pressure System because I don't like a lot of things on the dash. It doesn't create any more clutter on the dash. So if you were to look at our dash, this is what you see when we go down the road. You can see I don't like a lot of things on the dash. I like to be really clean and simple. I don't want cables going over everywhere to all these different devices. And so it's nice to be able to just have it into the phone, and having my phone mounted on the dash, it's almost like you're just looking down. I mean, it's no different than looking at a check engine light when that kicks on. So it's just really easy, really convenient, and not distracting. That was probably the deciding factor why we chose this one over other tire pressure monitors, because there's a lot of good ones out there, but this one impressed us because of that. Now, the other things that we liked this one for and why it impressed us was the quality. I liked being able to get the hands-on kind of look at them when I was at the RV show, but I felt like it was a quality product. And reading reviews, I saw that their customer service was very responsive. It seemed like they reached out to a lot of people that were having issues with theirs or trying to help problem solve anything that people were having. So it's a product that they're willing to stand behind and help you get the most out of it. I really appreciated that about this company. The other thing is it fit our system. We weren't stuck at just 6 sensors. So, I mean, if we had to do 6 sensors, I could do the back 2 tires on the truck and then the 4 on the RV. But it's nice to be able to have all 8 of our tires on one system, and then we can monitor it from that one app. Now, the way that this system works is we have this little device in the cab of the truck. We actually keep it in the glove box. You can charge it up. It has an internal battery, so you don't have to leave this plugged in every time you want to use the system. So we charge it up, just leave it in the glove box. It does actually give you a little light, an indicator light, if you have trouble with one of your sensors, or if it's going flat or needs to alarm you of something, and it gives you a beep, but we can hear it from inside the glove box, and we still get the warning on the phone. So this is just kind of like a bonus alert system. But the key function of it is it's giving the signals from all the monitors, the sensors on the tires, to this to send it to our phone. I want to show you how the app works before we get into the rest of the hardware. So when you open up the app after you have it all set up, it tells you that you're connected and it shows you how you have configured it. So for us, that front box is our truck and the rear one is the fifth wheel. And then you can see we have different tire locations for that. If you want any information on any of the tires, you just click the tire location and it gives you the PSI and the temperature. Now, if you wanted to kind of have it scroll through there so you didn't have to press each one, you can go up there at the top, press those 3 dots, and you can have it auto scroll through those. So it'll cycle through and it'll give you all that information for each one. Now, I did see a banner at the RV show where they had the tire locations laid out, and inside the tire they showed the temperature and the pressure. I don't know if they're going to come out with an app that does that, but if they are working on that, I am really excited about that, to where you can just look at one glance and see the pressure and the temperature. That would be fantastic. But this system works because I actually don't have this screen up when we're driving and just watching it. It's a monitor for a reason. It's monitoring those things for me. So if there's an issue, an alert is going to show up at the top of my phone and give me an audible alert. So I don't have to stare at this thing and monitor it. It's monitoring it for me and giving the information if something were to happen. Setup was pretty easy with the app. Also, you have the icons at the bottom. So if you wanted to learn a new sensor, when you put it on and it sees that a new sensor has pressure, it shows up here and you can tell it the location of where you want that sensor to be on the screen so that everything's accurate. And you also have the baseline, so if you wanted to set your tires at 90 PSI, you can enter in there. The baseline is at 90 PSI. If you wanted to put it at 80, you say that the baseline is 80 PSI. So it knows what PSI that individual tire should be. Now, we just use the system when we're towing the fifth wheel. We don't use it just all the time, but if you wanted to, if you press the three dots at the top, you do have a disconnect mode. So you can select that and then you can tell it which portion you're disconnecting. So if you have a Class A and you're disconnecting a tow vehicle, you can disconnect that. Or if you have a fifth wheel and you wanted to disconnect the fifth wheel and still use it in the truck, then you could do that as well. So there's a lot of handy features in this. Now, like I said, if you have an issue with one of your tires, the app will give you an audible alarm, and usually that's for 6 different reasons. Number 1 is the pressure loss of 3 PSI in 2 minutes. Number 2 is the pressure loss of 6 PSI or more in the span of 2 to 10 minutes. Number 3 is a 15% loss in PSI from the baseline that you set for that tire. Number 4, you'll get an alarm if you have an increase of 20% from the baseline pressure for that tire. Number 5 is if the internal temperature of the tire reaches 167 degrees. Number 6 is if things are really getting hot in that tire and it hits above 185 degrees, it'll send you an alarm. So if any of those things happen, you get an audible alert and an alert pops up on the screen of your phone. So it's just like looking down and seeing a check engine light. It's not like you have to fumble with everything just to be able to check it out. So you get that notification and you can assess what you need to do and where you can pull over. Also, before I forget, I'll put a link down in the description to this system so you can check the current pricing. I believe it runs for around $320 for the base kit, and you could add extra sensors if you wanted to. So it's not the most expensive, but it's also not the cheapest system. You can add up to, I believe, 22 sensors into this app version. But that's pretty much the app in a nutshell. Now, because our rig is bigger, we also have a booster over here that we just had to plug into 12-volt power. And once we give it power, it takes the signal from the tires on the RV and sends it up here. We really couldn't have found an easier spot to install this additional antenna. We just screwed it here to the front of the RV because you're supposed to do it in the front of the RV as close to your tow vehicle as you can. And then we have these 2 alligator clips where we clip it into the positive and then the negative. And then that powers this guy to be able to send the signal from the tires in the back up to the truck. It's kind of the middleman to make sure you have good signal. So we had these terminals here, positive and negative, that we were just able to clip this onto to give it power. These sensors are pretty simple. There's not a whole lot to them. They do have a nut that you can put onto the stem before you put the sensor on. It's kind of like an anti-theft thing. So you thread the sensor on and then you can back this nut up to it. They give you a tool to tighten it up. So that way somebody just can't come up and twist your sensor off and take off with it, because they're not that cheap and they do add up. These do have a battery inside of them too. We haven't had the batteries die on us yet, so I don't know exactly how long it takes for them to wear out, but we have an extra set of batteries, so as the batteries start dropping off and they get low, we can just swap them out. So the system's been working great for us. We haven't had any issues whatsoever. It's just been working well. I even got online and tried to read as many reviews as I could to see what problems people might have had out there, and I tried to replicate those or see if I had anything similar to those problems. And like I said, it's just been working great. I've even pulled sensors off and have them leak to see how long it takes for them to respond and tell you when you have an issue. And it's usually within 5 or 6 seconds. It's usually pretty quick, which is great. So the thing that finally pushed us over the edge to get one is we were driving through the Tampa Bay area, actually across the bay on the causeway, and got a flat tire. Something punctured it on the truck, and it sure would have been nice to know that our tire was going flat before it was 100% flat. I mean, it went down fast. Good thing it didn't all just fall apart, but it would have been nice to know that we were leaking air rapidly. So after that, we just thought it would be nice to know what's going on with our tires as we're driving. So I think that's gonna do it for today. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you wanna see more videos about RVing, hit that subscribe button. And if we don't see you on the road, hopefully we will see you in the next video. So the final test, I guess, is I have a handful of roofing nails. I'm just gonna throw it in front of the truck and trailer, drive through it and see how long it takes to go flat and when the sensors actually kick in and tell me something's wrong. That would be ridiculous.